Back to another episode of The John, your daily sports dump, where we plunge into the sports world. We are a sports pipeline for breaking news, game recaps, and the hottest takes in the sports industry. So while taking care of business, let us flush out the details and fill you in on what's happening. So take a seat, get comfortable, and make sure you have plenty of TP. It's time to explode the commode. I'm your host, John, and as you guys can see, I'm clearly not by myself. I'm joined by Dietrich Richardson, a 6'7" guard, the number one recruit in the state of Illinois, and was ranked the top 140 guard in the country, Dietrich Richardson. Dietrich, thank you for taking time out of your busy, class schedule and basketball schedule to join me today. And as I was telling you before we started, I get questions from my mom to kind of, they kind of helped me give me the idea. My parents helped me get the idea of the name of my podcast. So I let them give you my guests two questions. So I'm going to play a question into the microphone, and then we'll continue with my part of the interview.
Right, I'll have to say Crypto Arena.
Okay.
Crypto Arena. I feel like I really like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be cool. LA, the lights and
the vibe. Just
exactly.
LA, it's LA.
Exactly.
One of the best places ever,
Mm-hmm. And then this next one is a little bit, it makes sense, but you're a relatively local kid, but my mom still asks this to basically every person that I interview, so.
What is your go-to comfort meal?
Go-to comfort meal? I'll probably have to say a bowl from Chipotle or something, brown rice, double steak, queso cheese, sour cream, lettuce.
I get that. Yeah, and that's a brown rice. That's usually something you don't hear from most people in general. I'm a big white rice guy, but we can agree to disagree. So now we'll start with my questions. You and I were talking a little bit before. You had a lot of power conference options, and especially now with all the NIL and stuff, there was obviously some interesting schools, but you chose Bradley. Why? When did staying in Peoria and go to Bradley have priority over the other schools? Like, what was that decision like, and why?
Just talking to Coach Wardle, he was talking to me throughout my whole recruitment. He made me feel comfortable. I built a good trust with him. With the coaching staff also. Even though half of the coaching staff did up and go, but the new coaching staff that did come in, it's just like they replaced the old coaching staff perfectly fine. I'm all locked in with the coaching staff. But a big part was Coach Wardle just believing in me, So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And then we talked about you're a relatively local kid, went to Manual. So you grew up coming to games in Harvard. What was your earliest memory of Bradley, and how does that fuel you now that you're wearing a Bradley jersey?
The earliest, I went to a Bradley game around second grade. I went to Whittier. They took us as a school field trip. So I remember all them days I did go. I've been to Bradley games all my life growing up. I have plenty of pictures of Bradley shirts and Bradley jerseys and stuff. So I'm used to being around it, but it's even better to be able to come play, for a team I've been watching my whole life.
Yeah, exactly. That probably also, that would be, if I wasn't, I'm doing podcasts for a reason. I'm not an elite athlete, but if I was a great football player or a baseball player, I'd be playing for the Sox or the Bears. That would be the goal. But when you watched Bradley last year, which specific role in their offense could you picture yourself sliding into, and why do you think that will click when you slide into that role in the offense this year?
I feel like how Zeke Montgomery, how he played last year. I feel like me and him kind of play kind of the same. Get to the mid range, play at our own pace. You know what I'm saying? So
I get that. So, as I introduced you on some recruiting websites, you were labeled as a top in-state player. How did that keep you on edge, and how did that get you to now where you're again one of the best recruits in the country for?
Being ranked, like one of the best players in the state. Everybody gonna come for you every game. When you play a game, they gonna know who you are. You're gonna be on the scout. So basically that, knowing everybody was gonna come for my head every game really was a big thing. So I had to keep me focused mentally and And also, Coach Wardle coming to some of my games kept me on my feet too.
Yeah, definitely.
I gotta be able to put on for Coach.
Exactly.
So.
That's like a job interview.
Yeah.
Like you want to, or like when you're younger and there's a girl in the stands and you want. That's like you want to impress them.
Yeah.
So day one, first day of the workouts. Where did you see yourself implementing the most on ball creation, defending wings, and pushing in transition? You know, you're a great offensive guy, and sometimes people just look at the offense because that's basically what all the highlight reels are. It's just offensive plays. So where do you see yourself on the defensive side of the ball?
Oh, yes. I talked to Coach Mike Black a lot and Coach Al. You know, they want me to be more, on the defensive end too, getting more deflections, more steals, just being more vocal on defense, and just putting more effort in the defense, I'm athletic enough to do it. I'm long enough to do it. I got the tools to do it. It's just all about me, actually locking in and, actually wanting to sit and, actually, being tough. So I've been doing better, sitting down on defense, because my coach has been on me about it. I've seen a lot of progress in my defense, so yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. Like that's going to be, and this is not a shot at you. That's you're going to have some freshman growing pains, but that's I was telling you before we started. I was calling a game yesterday where Sterling, they're a really young football team. They had a lot of young freshman guys. You saw them get better as the game go on. That's going to be the same case with you and all the freshmen and new recruits coming in. You're going to be having some growing pains, but at the end of the season, your guys are going to be in a good spot. So, what's your go-to set play, read, or like your favorite shot that you love to create? Because obviously you can create your own shot. There's a reason that you're playing at Bradley. You can create your own shot. So what's your favorite thing if you said?
My go-to probably be a high ball screen, with a roll or a pop, just trying to get that mismatch against the big man going downhill because, that's what I excel at. So I'll probably say that, and making a read off the screen also. If the big pops, I hit him on the pop. If he rolls, hit him on a roll, lob, or bounce pass. Yeah. So I feel like that's one of like the most premier part of my game. Just making reads off ball screens. So I feel like that's it.
Yeah, and I was talking about how you're kind of a you're 6'6", you're a taller guy now, and if you told someone a few years ago that you would be a guard, being 6'6", they're thinking that's usually a forward. So you're a Swiss Army knife sort of playmaker. You can create your own shot. We talked about what you can do, but passing the ball. What part of your game do you think is most misunderstood from either a fan or from someone like me or a new Bradley fan that is getting introduced to you? What is something that you think they could learn from this?
Yeah, I make a lot of high IQ plays. Basketball is not all about scoring all the time. Like, you might come out have 15 one game, or one game you might have 8 or 9, but as long as you make high IQ plays and plays, to win, that's the most valuable part about basketball. A coach care about a player who makes the right plays at all times.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, like that's what I don't know what your thoughts are on LeBron versus Jordan, but that's what makes these two guys so good. Is they could put the ball in the bucket, but they could also pass. Like I'm from the Chicago suburbs, so I have a little favoritism towards Jordan, but LeBron is, I think, the perfect embodiment of what you just described, where he is top 10 in assists, rebounds, like he is the embodiment of a 3-level scorer and a 3-level player. He does everything that you can do. So I think that's another great thing is what you want to have, and especially for a mid-major where it's so hard to compete with all these bigger schools now. This is a great thing for us. So we talked a little bit about your defense. What excites you more when there's a pick and roll? Guarding a smaller guard that you can really smother, or a bigger sort of wing that kind of matches up with you, but you can body with him and you can kind of get physical with him?
I kind of like, guarding little guards off the ball screen, because it's kind of easier to like get up into them and like kind of push them out if they're not like super bulky and strong. You just get on their hip and push them out and get through the ball screen. But that's probably it.
Yeah, I get that. So walk us through, and this doesn't have to be, there's been so many possessions obviously in your life, but if it was in your high school career, AAU career, that you didn't really score, but you had a big effect on what the outcome was, whether that was defense, whether it was a nice pass that led to another pass that led to a score. Do you have any sort of possessions that would be described to like me and you as like beautiful basketball, where the ball was moved around great, or it was a beautiful pick and pop, or a beautiful pick and roll? Like, do you have any sort of those where like it stands out to you? If it was a high intensity game, first game senior year, last game senior year, do you have any of those?
I have quite a few. I'll take us back to our playoff run this year at Peoria Manual, our state run. We had a play where we 2K ripped the kid, and then we passed it up, and then he passed it up, and then my teammate threw it off the backboard to me. And in the playoff game, in traffic, it was somebody like right here.
Okay.
Threw it off the rim, I dunked it, crowd went crazy. I had to say that's one of the moments. And I had to say mid-pro 17U Academy summer year, we just had so many great plays, so many great live plays, Coach Gavin set up for us. So we had fun, like just moving it, and we all know the back door coming for the lob.
Yeah.
So we just waiting for it to set up, and we just throw it up there. And then
because now all these guys on AAU teams are, they can be short, but they're crazy athletic.
Everybody could jump. Yeah.
So, I played. I was telling you how I attempt to play, somewhat competitive basketball. There's this one dude who was on the Bradley basketball team that is a 6'9", something like that. So. I threw him a nice lob, and I didn't even do dunking, and I just threw the lob, and that kind of fired me up. Exactly.
It's just like the feeling of just throwing a lob and just seeing
because then you both jump up, and then it's a really great thing. So what's one skill, sort of swing skill, off the dribble three, weak-handed finishes, pick and roll reads, that if that this year, there's going to be a jump. Which one do you want to really work on?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'll probably say, 3-point, because in high school, off the dribble three, probably, I'll lean towards more because I ain't really shoot them that much in high school, like in an AAU. So I kind of want to, grow my game more and, actually step on my shot. I've been working on it a lot.
Yeah, especially with
coaches, catch and shoot three, off the dribble. I'm just trying to, get better at it. I ain't trying to be, I'm trying to just be, the best version of myself.
Totally, yeah, and especially you talked about it a little bit, but it's a lot of things that I feel like gets passed up, especially even when it's the top recruits in the country. There's a line change from the 3-point line, so that's another thing. Like, even though you guys are great athletes, you're great basketball players, that's not only a physical thing. We got to shoot it harder and farther. It's also a mental thing. You're used to shooting basically mid-ranges in college that are threes in high school, so that's a completely different thing. So tell us about a defender, either AAU, high school, anything that was one that really, really bothered you. There's that one clip of Zion with that one little short guy that guarded him. Do you have any guys that really were every time, if you played them multiple times, that were really just pestered you and bothered you?
Yeah, let me think about that one. I'm going to give you one from AAU, and I'm going to give you one from high school.
Awesome.
All right, in high school, I played a kid named Jared. His name was Jared. I think he still played college ball, but he went to Richwoods. He was on that 2024 team with Lathan.
Yeah.
He was just the defender of that team, and every time we played Richwoods, coach put him on me, sick on me, you stay with him at all times and stuff. And, he's a bigger dude. He's 6'5". He's kind of strong. Yeah. He's longer too. So he kind of did with all the help defense they played. He kind of did give me some problems. Being in the passing lane and he closed out quick. Every time I played him, he gave me a run. I had to be on my best game every time I played him. So yeah, I'll say him for high school and AAU. I played against this dude named Cruz McClure. He go to DePaul now. He was pretty good on defense. He was pretty solid. He was long. Yeah. He was good on defense. He gave me some problems just because how long he was and he was able to move left or right very good. So yeah, I should probably say him. Yeah.
So this one I should have asked earlier because it was more about recruitment, but according to 24/7 Sports, you're the second highest rated recruit ever in Bradley history, highest in the Brian Wardle era. So are there any sort of nerves, with all the social media, there's gonna be some stuff that's coming out with you. So do you ever kind of let that get to you, and how are you kind of just gonna, I know it's corny to say this, but be you, because that's the Bradley saying. But how are you gonna not let that get to you?
Yeah, I talk to I got people in my family that I talk to a lot, like my mom. I got people I talk to. They keep me level-headed. Not to put pressure on myself. With the season coming up, but I feel like right now I'm pretty level-headed. Like I know what I'm getting myself into. I know what I gotta do. This is my city. People gonna come see me play, so I ain't really worried about nerves or nothing, because I know like I got the skill, I got the tools, to be great. So it's just about the confidence, keeping that. So
yeah, totally. And you're just starting your freshman year. So what is the you and I talked a little bit just about classes. What has your adjustment been like, both on the court? You had dreads earlier, so that was a big change. But what has the adjustment been both on the court and off the court so far?
Yeah, on the court, basically like time management, everything. You got to be there early. On the court, it's not very much room for error, so you got to be dang near perfect every practice. But off the court, I feel like the school lifestyle is way easier than high school.
Yes.
I ain't got to get up super early and be at school and for 8 hours, 7 hours. I get to get up, go to class when I want to. But you do gotta pay attention. That's one thing about college. If you don't pay attention, it will get hard, and you will not know what's going on.
That's impressive that you noticed that in your first week of school. It took me basically the first semester of my freshman year to realize like I gotta focus more in class. But yeah, that's definitely something that's good. So as a freshman, being it's different to see a freshman leader, but you're coming in. You're going to be, a lot of people are coining you as you're going to be one of the high scorer guys on the team, one of the leaders on the team. So how do you plan to lead by voice, example, or finding, solution in huddles? How do you plan to sort of be that leader for them?
Basically, just getting more trust with the guys. I'm kind of younger, so I got to build trust. I can't just come in trying to boss stuff. So I'm trying to build trust with the guys, build that good relationship with them. So when the season do run around, like, okay, they be like, all right, D, we know what you could do. Like, we need you right here. Like, we need your help. We need, what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's probably one of the parts.
Awesome, yeah. So, what is your, you've said that, and you said, and I think I agree with you that, this is your city. You're a local kid. You're Peoria Manual. You've been to some local camps and stuff. What kind of community footprint do you want to leave in Peoria when your time is done here at Bradley?
Yes, I really just want, like, help out the youth, inspire the youth to, be able to do things. Like, I'm a kid from the south end of Peoria. I went to Roosevelt growing up and went to Peoria Manual. That's the south end of Peoria. Like, so if I can make it to college and, get a good education, my mom don't got to pay for college.
Exactly.
Other kids can too. It ain't got to be at the highest level at D1. It could be D2, D3, JUCO. Exactly. But as long as you go to college and get that, degree and do whatever you want to do in life, that's all it's about.
Exactly. And you talk D1, D2, D3, JUCO. A lot of these guys now, like I interviewed Christian Davis, Duke Dean, Christian Davis, D2 guy, Duke Dean, JUCO guy. A lot of these guys that are now on the mid-major scene come from D2, JUCO colleges, so it can always lead you to a better path as well. So how would you describe your game to Bradley fans who might not have seen you play a lot yet, and what do you bring to this team right away?
Yeah, I'm a versatile guard. I'm 6'7". I can move real good. I'm very long. I can dribble. I got a great handle. Great feel for the game. I'm a pass. In high school, I was a pass first guard. Got my teammates. Good buckets and just basically just like that sponge. Like I was the leader of every team I played for in high school. I'm just trying to translate that here. But that comes with building trust. So I'll say, I'm a pass first guard, yeah.
Yeah, and, it's going to be an exciting year. This is, I got 2 more questions for you. Obviously the season hasn't started. That's why this was a lot easier to set up. I set one up with Duke and Christian in season. It's a lot harder to do. But, looking ahead to the season, what are some personal goals that you've set for yourself? And how do you see your role evolving as the year goes on? And some of these goals could be, point records or anything. Like, what are your goals?
Oh, yeah, I've set a few goals. Like, I ain't going to say all of them because, I don't want to be, But I set a few goals. I want to make, freshman all-team. That comes with great success. That's going to be very hard to do. I got to put in the work.
Exactly.
Time, effort.
Also, a great conference, too.
Yeah, great conference, too. So I wanted to be, freshman all-team. I set that as one of my, primary standards, and I want also some like defensive accolades too, because like we were talking about earlier, I got the frame and long enough to be very good on defense. So I want to do something.
Exactly, and I think you were talking about earlier as well. I know I've went back to a lot of our conversation before the podcast, but you talked about how you were kind of a big KD fan. You have obviously you're not 6'11", 7 foot, but you have a very similar frame in the sense that you're sort of a longer, lengthy guard.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more of a whatever you put him at anywhere he can, but you're a longer, lengthy guy, so you have a good frame to be a good defender. And finally, what does a successful freshman season mean to you personally and for Bradley?
Personally, winning that MVC tournament, I feel like that'll be big. That's a big. I would love to experience that. That's a big goal. So the MVC tournament, I feel like that's a big goal for us. Turn a lot of heads. Get some things going. I feel like everybody on the team wants to get to that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a big one. That's everybody goal. Just everybody's trying to buy in on that. Like everybody, let's be here every day. Let's go hard. We know where we want to be, by time March.
Exactly, and I think, another good thing about that is you thought last year was going to be their year because, no one expected Drake to do what they did last year.
Yeah.
But I think also, it sucked for me as a Bradley fan, and the team, obviously, it sucked for. But I think it was a good thing because now you're aware that Drake can come out of nowhere. It's a new coach. It's basically a new team as well.
Drake's
but
always good.
Exactly, that. And I was talking to someone as well about the Bradley Drake rivalry. It's been very similar to like the Bills Chiefs rivalry in the NFL. Like it's been every time you play, it's been really great games. And it's been usually one possession games, or we'll win in the regular season. They won one in the regular season.
Always loud.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so that
environment.
Exactly great environment. Which how do environments affect how you play? I know obviously state
I
playoffs.
Feel like
and stuff.
I played on a big floor and stuff so I'm used to being on a college court and playing. I love the environment of college, college court, college field. It's bigger, more space. Of course I played on it with high schoolers, but it was fun.
Exactly.
I really embraced that. When I was playing, I went as hard as I could because I know okay, this is my senior year. I won't be able to play on this floor again.
Exactly.
With my high school teammates. So I really embraced that. I embraced all the big moments. So yeah.
Yeah, and then the last one. How excited are you for? I know you were a recruit at this game, Carver Arena, sold out crowd, Illinois State, Bradley. How excited are you for that game this year?
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be a good game. I can't wait to see the environment of that because I've sat in it and watched it and watched how things escalated. Somebody hit a shot, it's always loud. The fans is always into the games at the ISU rivalry. So. I can't wait to play in that environment. I feel like it's going to be so fun. My family's going to be here. That's a close game. So if we have to go there and play, or if they come here to play, my family's going to be there. So, I'm going to have fun. Yeah,
that's going to be a really exciting game to go to. And, I went to the one last year. Got goosebumps basically the whole game. Also won 15 free coupons from Papa John's. So, if you ever want some more free coupons, I still have them left over from last year. Right. But Dietrich, thank you again for taking time. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode of The John, your daily sports dump, where we got to know the new Bradley recruit and star freshman, Dietrich Richardson. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram for sports updates and hot takes in real time. And if you're looking for even more sports talk, check out the Sports Syllabus Show, where my partner and I tackle the hottest topics in college sports and beyond. It's a two-ply discussion, strong, reliable, and always ready to clean up the messy takes in college sports and beyond. Join me next time on The John, your daily sports dump, where we'll have a turd of tough sports options. Until then, keep game face on and stay regular. This is The John.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45 minutes. Somebody open the window.